Let's talk about the people who build America's cars. The men and women whose hands and hearts have shaped not just vehicles, but the very fabric of our nation. For generations, a job at an auto plant was a golden ticket, steady union-backed work that could lift a family into the middle class. These jobs weren't just paychecks, they were passports to a better life, offering security, pride, and a sense of belonging. It wasn't just about assembling cars, it was about building a stable life and a future. Every shift meant food on the table, a roof overhead, and dreams for the next generation. The auto industry powered the American dream for millions, fueling not only the economy, but also the hopes and ambitions of entire communities. But now that engine is sputtering, factories that once buzzed with life are falling silent, and the future feels uncertain. The promise of a lifelong career and secure retirement is fading, and the impact is shaking entire towns. When a plant closes, it's not just jobs that disappear, it's a way of life. Cities like Detroit and Flint weren't just places where cars were made. They were car towns, their rhythms set by the factory whistle. Generations grew up with the hum of machinery as their soundtrack. When these jobs vanish, the whole ecosystem collapses. Diners struggle, tax bases shrink, and communities dim. Schools, shops, and local businesses all feel the ripple effects. Why should you care? Because this is about more than cars. It's about what happens when massive economic forces collide with real lives. It's about families facing tough choices and towns fighting to survive. What's happening to auto workers today could hit other industries tomorrow. No community is immune to these changes. So buckle up. We're taking a hard look under the hood of this crisis, exploring what's at stake for all of us. The American dream on four wheels is at a crossroads, and the road ahead is uncertain. The stakes are bigger than any one factory, any one city, or even any one industry. Let's see what's really driving this change and what it means for the future of work in America. Robots are cool. They build with precision, never call in sick, and don't need health insurance. For decades, automation has made cars safer and more reliable. But now, robots are getting smarter and multiplying fast. Advanced robotics and AI can handle tasks once thought too complex for machines. Quality checks, electronics, even logistics. Each new robot can replace several human jobs, working 24/7. This isn't science fiction. It's happening right now. Modern plants are filled with technicians monitoring machines, not workers on the line. The skills needed are changing. Welders must become programmers. While some high-tech jobs are created, many traditional ones disappear. Companies call it modernization, but it often means investing in machines over people. The robot in the room is a relentless competitor for every job. Automation is quietly rewriting the rules of work in the auto industry. Electric vehicles, EVs, are the future, promising cleaner air, cutting-edge technology, and a new era for transportation. But for the people who build our cars, this future is also a shock to the system, a jolt that's changing lives and livelihoods. EVs have far fewer parts than gas cars, so they need fewer workers to build. The assembly lines that once bustled with activity are now quieter, with more machines and fewer hands. A traditional engine is a complex marvel, made up of hundreds of intricate components, each requiring skilled labor to assemble and maintain. In contrast, an electric motor is simple, just a handful of moving parts. That simplicity means fewer factories are needed, fewer suppliers are involved, and ultimately, fewer jobs are available for workers who once specialized in these parts. Building an EV takes about 30% less labor than a traditional car, and that efficiency is only increasing as automation advances. Multiply that across the entire industry, and the impact is massive. Tens of thousands of jobs could disappear as the shift accelerates. The supply chain for pistons, mufflers, and transmissions, once the backbone of American manufacturing, is on borrowed time. Many of these plants are already closing, and workers are being forced to look for new opportunities, often outside the industry they've known for decades. New jobs in battery plants are being created, but they aren't a one-for-one replacement. These positions are often non-union, lower paid, and offer less job security than traditional auto jobs. Plus, these new factories are often far from traditional auto towns, forcing workers to choose between uprooting their families or facing unemployment. Workers can't just switch over. Retraining is tough, and many may have to move for less pay and fewer benefits, leaving behind the communities they helped build. The transition to EVs is necessary for the planet, but it's also a massive economic shock for entire towns and families. The future is electric, but it's leaving many workers behind, especially those who have spent their lives in the auto industry. The industry is changing fast. Automation and electrification are rewriting the rules, and not everyone can keep up with the pace. That's the electric shock no one wants to talk about, the hidden cost of progress that's reshaping the American workforce. The global auto industry used to be an exclusive club dominated by a handful of American, European, and Japanese giants. But now, it's a crowded race, with new contenders entering the field and shaking up the status quo. South Korean brands like Hyundai and Kia have gone from punchlines to powerhouses. Once dismissed as cheap alternatives, they now build award-winning cars that rival the best in quality and technology, all while keeping prices lower than many competitors. These companies have invested billions in US plants, creating thousands of jobs for American workers. But their presence also puts pressure on traditional American automakers to cut costs and boost efficiency, sparking a new wave of competition on US soil. But the real game changer is China, whose rise in the auto world has been nothing short of meteoric. Chinese companies like BYD and NIO are building sophisticated electric vehicles, dominating their massive home market, and setting their sights on the US and Europe. Their cars are no longer just cheap, they're innovative, stylish, and packed with cutting-edge tech. With strong government support, lower labor costs, and a near monopoly on battery production, Chinese automakers can build cars for less and scale up faster than most rivals. This gives them a huge advantage as the world shifts toward electric vehicles. US automakers are feeling the squeeze. Competing with these global giants means investing in more automation, negotiating tough union concessions, or even moving production overseas to stay afloat. Every foreign car sold in America, even if it's built right here, represents a sale lost for legacy US brands. The competition is no longer just about who builds the best car, but who can do it most efficiently and at the lowest cost. The pressure to cut costs lands hardest on workers, who face job insecurity, wage stagnation, and the constant threat of layoffs as companies fight to survive. American auto jobs are now competing with the entire world, as global supply chains and international competition reshape the industry. The global traffic jam is real, and it's changing the rules for everyone, from factory workers to CEOs. The old playbook no longer applies. The competition is fierce, the stakes are higher than ever, and the outcome will determine the future of the world's auto industry. This isn't just numbers, it's people. Maria, a single mom in Ohio, spent 20 years inspecting transmissions. Her plant closed when EVs made her job obsolete. Now she's starting over in her mid-40s, her skills suddenly outdated. David, a third-generation line worker in Flint, watched his family's legacy unravel as layoffs and buyouts eroded the sense of community. Younger workers hesitate to buy homes or start families, haunted by instability. The stress isn't just at work, it's at the dinner table, in hushed talks about the mortgage. Families face impossible choices: move for a lower-paying job, or stay and hope for the best. For decades, hard work meant stability. Now, workers feel disposable. The psychological toll is real, feeling left behind by the industry they built. These stories are the hidden injuries of the auto crisis. The human cost is as real as any factory closure. So what are car companies doing? Mostly a slick PR dance. They promise billions for American manufacturing and retraining, but the reality is often plant closures and layoffs. Retooling and restructuring are just corporate speak for job cuts. Retraining programs sound good, but offering a laid-off welder a coding class rarely leads to a real job. For companies, maximizing shareholder value comes first, not protecting jobs or communities. Public promises of loyalty mask private plans to move production where it's cheaper. For workers, it's cold comfort and a harsh reality. Is the government stepping in? Sort of. Federal initiatives like the Inflation Reduction Act pour billions into EVs and batteries, aiming to keep jobs in the US. New plants are opening, but many are non-union, lower paid, and far from old auto towns. There's fierce debate over whether subsidies should require fair wages, union neutrality, or investment in struggling communities. Policy is a tangled web, sometimes helping, sometimes hurting. We subsidize EVs, but trade policies can make it easier for foreign competitors to undercut US jobs. Competing priorities, environment, trade, labor, make for a messy road. The government is at the wheel, but the destination is unclear. The transition is happening, but fairness for workers is far from guaranteed. The ride is bumpier than anyone wants to admit. The storm of automation, electrification, and globalization is real. But it's not the end. We need real retraining hands-on apprenticeships, not just online vouchers. Programs must pay a living wage during training and prepare workers for high-skilled jobs. Robotics, EV maintenance, advanced manufacturing. New jobs must be good jobs, fair wages, benefits, and union rights, especially if taxpayer money is involved. We can't subsidize a low-wage future. We should build a new high-skilled middle class. Beyond factories, we must invest in communities, helping old auto towns diversify and rebuild. Support for local businesses and entrepreneurs can create new opportunities. They goal resilience, not just cars. The fate of a town shouldn't rest on a distant boardroom. We can build a future that works for everyone. It's time to invest in people, not just machines. The car your parents drove isn't coming back, and neither are the old jobs. The future is electric, high-tech, and global. We can't stop that. The real question, will we all be on board or left behind? This isn't partisan, it's about the American promise. Work hard, build a good life. The auto jobs crisis threatens that promise. Letting these communities wither would be national self-harm. Solutions aren't simple or cheap. They require bold action from government, responsibility from corporations, and attention from all of us. We must demand our leaders create good jobs, not just any jobs. Support companies that invest in workers and communities. The person tightening a bolt and the one writing code both deserve dignity and a living wage. This is a defining moment. We can watch the industry fade or roll up our sleeves and rebuild. The engine is sputtering, but we have the tools to fix it. Let's get to work, together.